Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tony the Mole Adams YouTube channel. He's been away for a week in Cook Islands in beautiful Rarotonga, which means for you, it means that we're going to have a double episode of his midweek scoops, the mid of 2 weeks. But Tony now joins us, and another opportunity. I guess we can have a chat also about the first 3 games of NRL's round 6 wins for the 3 big cities in the competition: Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. What have you made of the first 3 games?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing tonight, everyone thought that the Melbourne v Bulldogs game would be the appetizer, and the Broncos Dolphins game would be the main course. Well, it ended up the other way around. The Bulldogs game was an absolute ripper. They almost beat the Storm down in Melbourne, which is very rare, as we know. But a late try to Sean Bloor got the Storm home, whereas the other game pretty one-sided. They had no luck, the Dolphins, I've got to say. They were only 2 points down at halftime. Then they lost the hammer. Then 3 tries basically through bounce of the ball, just dumb luck, bad luck, whatever you want to call it. And it was a runaway win to the Broncos. So the crowd was happy. Well, the Broncos portion of it, which was probably 60, 70%. The big guns fired, Cobbo, Walsh. But definitely the other game was the better of the two.
Before we move on to your columns, Tony, I know that just from your Twitter account, I hazard a guess, you might have a view on Michael Jennings leading out the Roosters in Newcastle on Thursday night.
Yeah, I do. It's a strange one, isn't it? Like the NRL said we're not going to recognise him playing his 300th game, yet they let him play his 300th game. So it's typical NRL sitting on the fence, having a bit each way. The Roosters coach Trent Robinson had some views on this, obviously defending his player. That went down pretty badly. There were complaints from all sorts of women's groups, and basically, I don't think the Roosters made any friends, and not one of the more popular clubs, as people in the Southern Hemisphere would know as it is the Roosters. For some reason, people don't like them, and I think this only added to the dislike. So, yeah, bit of an interesting week for the Roosters, that's for sure.
Okay, let's move on to your columns, and you can read Tony's columns through the link in the show description. The first item from last week's column, before you went to the Cook Islands, was about a young player that West Tigers fans are pretty excited about, Loy Galvin. He almost ended up at another club, Tony.
Yeah, that's right. There are a few clubs chasing Loy Galvin, Manly being one, Parramatta being another. And ironically, the man who convinced him to be a Tiger was Tim Sheens. And how did the Tigers thank Tim? They show him the door. I could go on and on about this, but, lucky Tigers, that's all I'll say. Benji's reaping the rewards of his predecessor's hard work. And we saw last week they really missed Loy Galvin. It's unbelievable that an 18-year-old rookie who was at school last year is having such an impact in just a couple of games. Unfortunately, he got suspended for a hip drop. And as a result, he missed last week. He's going to miss this week as well. So interesting times for the Tigers.
One of my favourite young players is Kayal Iro, plays for the Cook Islands, and he played, no secret why, he plays for the Cook Islands. His dad's Kevin Iro, who's one of the most famous sportsmen to ever come out of the area. Or, I think he grew up in, him and his brother grew up in New Zealand, but very proud Cook Islanders. Tony, you had an item in your column about Kayal that, it's about time he started kicking on because he's off contract at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's right. And while we're talking about the Cook Islands, let me just throw in lovely part of the world. I was scouting new players, if the tax man asks you, Steve. That was the purpose of my visit. But I had a week there. It was a beautiful spot. And yeah, I was wearing my footy T-shirts, as I tend to do. And everyone wanted to talk NRL and Kayal Iro. So he's certainly having an impact back home. And yeah, the Sharks, they need to re-sign him because he's not a regular first grader there. And he scored a very good try last weekend, even though the bunker should have taken it off him. He actually dropped it as he was putting it down. I don't know what they were doing in the bunker. But yeah, he's off contract and several clubs showing interest. So it'll be interesting. Watch this space.
We've talked about Heamasi Makasini on this program before, a very talented young West Magpies player, and he's being pursued by rugby union. Is that right?
Yeah, well, he's playing rugby union at school and he's playing league. I think he plays one on Saturday, one on Sunday. He scored something like 10 tries in 8 games, kicked a bunch of goals. He's a freakish talent. I saw some video of him and it was like a man against little boys. He was just pushing the other kids off. And so he's one that is in hot demand in both codes. And the Tigers are well aware of it and they're trying to extend him now. He's, I think, only 17, 18 years old, but a definite gun, one to watch.
You've led this week's column on the Raiders' Ethan Strange. When they lost Jack Wyden, a lot of concern that they wouldn't be able to replace him. But Ethan Strange has impressed, I guess, not just you, but a lot of other people.
Yeah, that's right. And Ricky Stewart more than anyone. And as a result, he was on contract till the end of next season. They've already extended him after 5 games for another 2-3 seasons. So, yeah, and remember, it was a battle between him and KO Weeks and a couple of other guys as to who was going to fill the big shoes of help me out here.
Jack Wyden.
It's late night. Jack Wyden, yes.
Jet lag.
So he got first crack at it, and he hasn't looked back. He's been playing some great footy. He helped them to a win last week, and he's for a young kid. He's fearless. He just rips and tears, and very impressive player. And when he gets 20, 30 games under his belt, I think we'll really see him blossom. And so another player to watch, that's for sure.
I've met young Josh Ralph, who plays for Wales, halfback, Aussie-born and raised guy with a Welsh background. But he's now in the lower grades at the Dragons, which I didn't realise, and he's really impressing everybody.
Yeah, that's right. I think he's got 4 try assists in 4 games. He's playing New South Wales Cup. And of course, all this is very relevant because there's big question marks over Ben Hunt. We keep hearing he wants to go home. He's admitting he wants to go home. He'll stay at least till the end of this season, but next year he might be in Queensland or at the very least the season afterwards. And so if Josh Ralph bides his time, he could be the first grade halfback at the Dragons. You never know. Stranger things have happened. He's a real journeyman. He's played for a couple of clubs in the Queensland Cup, a couple of clubs in the New South Wales Cup. He's played for Tweed Heads. And, of course, he's played for Wales. So, interesting player.
And a lot of people aren't impressed with South at the moment. We can't really talk about it much because it's a fast-moving thing. By the time I post this video, who knows what the situation will be at South. But Craig Tugger Coleman let his displeasure be known on social media recently.
Yeah, that's right. And Tugger is as South as they come. You know, he bleeds red and green and very rarely criticises his own club. But he absolutely let rip. And it wasn't just at the coach. It was at the people who do the recruiting, the management, the players. He basically didn't miss anyone. So I think he's pretty much summing up the mood at South Sydney. I think they've lost 13 out of their last 18 games. And when you look at their roster, they should not be having a record like that. And Tugger summing up the frustrations of the fans, not happy.
And finally, this is the place where you hear first about talented young players who haven't made first grade yet, I think. You've always got your eye on the lower grades, junior reps. And the Seve brothers at the Bulldogs. What can you tell us about them? They're big fellas.
Yes, I spoke to Gus Gould about them the other day. Their names are Itula and Fanafou. They're of Tongan background, I believe. They each weigh over 110 kilos. They're both front rowers, and they're only 17 and 19, so they're still growing, I should say. Itula is captain of the Harold Mats. Fanafou has been a standout for the ball. And they're both on something like 4-year deals at the Dogs, because Gus is that confident that in the next couple of years we'll be seeing him in the top 30. So we'll just see what a good judge Gus is. But you look at the Bulldogs today, and they perform very well. I thought they were the better team against Melbourne, and some of their young guys that Gus has cherry picked along with Cameron Ciraldo are starting to come good. So Bulldogs fans, be patient. I think you're building a pretty good side over the next couple of years.
Bumper episode this week, Tony. I know you're still a bit tired from your trip across the international dateline. So don't forget, everyone, to like and subscribe. And our last episode had more than 10,000 views, which is unbelievable. So thanks everyone for supporting us. And Tony, we'll see you next week.
Sounds good, Steve. Talk then.